needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
A very good morning to you and welcome to Souk Business Landscape, your weekly guide to the biggest developments shaping Nigeria's economy. We'll talk about infrastructure, innovation, and governance. In today's episode, we explore Nigeria's improved growth outlook by the IMF, governance accountability over the Baro Inland Port project, the new frontiers in electric vehicle innovation, and China's strategic childcare subsidy to combat demographic decline. Let's dive into the forces driving business, economy, policy, and sustainable development locally and globally. But before we do that, please, welcome to the men's world. Wednesday's men's world on Souk Business Landscape. Good morning, gentlemen. There's no lady here today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they want to fight me. Why did they say it's a men's world? It's a men's world Wednesday on Souk Business Landscape. And from the far left, he's on the far left this time. I think he's even a leftist. Yeah, you can't. Welcome to the program.
I'm trying to wrap my head what that real word means. Leftist.
Leftist, when you were in the university.
Okay. Thank you very much for being there and staying tuned to your program. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks. Let's have a beautiful one.
Okay, and
Osama Zaida Hossa is my name. It's good to know that you're out there, the other side of the divide. Join the conversation and let's talk about the Good Nigeria project.
okay, and the very night himself.
So glad to be here. This is Souk Business Landscape. Let's talk business, economy, and development.
Great. But before we jump into the main discourse for today, let me intimate you. I know I've done a little bit of that, but let's expand it a little. The IMF has revised Nigeria's 2025 economic growth 0.0% to 3.4%, citing improved short-term prospects. Despite the macroeconomic headwinds, Nigeria is projected to outperform South Africa, but remain below sub-Saharan Africa's average of 0.4%. And apart from that, we will be looking at the House of Representatives, who summoned the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy and the NIWA MD over the abandoned Baro Inland Port project, demanding accountability for billions spent on a non-functional port commissioned in 2019. And then we shift our attention to Nigeria's push into green transport, which gets a boost as UNIBEN wins a national design contest for an 8-seater electric campus shuttle. The government, through its partners, is funding the prototype production with a 60% local content requirement. That's a good one. Moving on, we'll also look at China, which will offer their families over 540,000 naira, an equivalent of 360 or 3,600 yuan annually per child under the age of 3 from 2025 to address declining birth rates and a shrinking workforce. The subsidy is tax-free and will reach over 20 million families. We'll go on a break. By the time we return, we'll be looking at each of these stories and probably some other stories as the show continues. It's Souk Business Landscape, and we are reaching you live from our studios. We'll go on a break. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content, and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen
promises. See something, see something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
Welcome to Femi Walsh Limited, owners of Souk TV Lagos, Our Radio Lagos, Kaswa Radio Kano, and of course, Emirates TV Abuja and Dubai. Our niche market for media is business, economy, and development. At Femi Walsh, we promote your company's products and services using our world-class facilities. From our radio to Souk TV, what you get is nothing but the best of the very best.
And if you're looking for the premium production firm for your events and corporate coverage, think no further, because we offer you the best of industry standards.
With high-definition cameras ranging from 4K to 8K multicam setups, high-directional microphones, and real-time streaming encoders, we give you a production like none other. And if you're looking to produce podcasts, adverts, and documentaries, our team of experts will ensure that you convey your message clearly and professionally. Femi Walsh, Global Vision, Local Impact.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen promises. See something, see something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. Now we go into the business of the day. The International Monetary Fund has revised Nigeria's 2025 growth projection upward to 3.4%, up from the 3.0% forecast in April's World Economic Outlook. The July 2025 update shows confidence in Nigeria's short-term outlook despite persistent macroeconomic challenges. Growth is expected to ease slightly to 3.2% in 2026, still 0.5 percentage points higher than April's estimate. While the figure remains below sub-Saharan Africa's average forecast of 4.0% for 2025, it keeps Nigeria ahead of South Africa, projected at 1.0% near next year. The IMF also raised global growth expectations for 2025 to 3.0%, citing improved financial conditions, weaker U.S. dollar, and fiscal expansions in some economies. It warned, however, that much of the boost could be temporary, driven by front-loaded trade and investment ahead of the potential tariff hikes. This sounds esoteric, Chooks.
Well, it's coming from the IMF.
It's coming from the IMF because other times that they've made some projections about Nigeria, which actually fell to the negative side. We've most of the times look at why are they doing this, why are they doing it, but this kind of look positive, Doctor.
Well, like I've always said here, IMFs are not prophets. They just project or look at the events around you, and based on that, they sit down and say, okay, well, they can project or assume what they feel or they think the economy is going to look like. But that is not a real measure of how the economy feels. So we must be able to understand this, that some of all these are speculations, and they are not within the realm of reality, because all of things can change, and therefore the projections can alter. Because they are looking at the geopolitics around the world. How is that going to shape your economy? They are looking at your internal dynamics. How is that going to affect the level of productivity? And so when they sit down, they look at this, and then they are using this thing to make a projection of what they feel the economic outlook is going to look like. And so it's not cast in stone that we are going to be exactly 3.4. I say it can be more, it can be lesser, because I don't think there's a Nostradamus among them who can see what will happen the next day. Because as we are sitting down in this table, a whole lot can change this moment. And all the indices that are put on the ground to assume this, all of them will be in the negative, or they can be in the positive, and they will fly up. And so this changes. So I don't really feel that people should worry too much about what the rate of growth should look like as projected by whether it's the World Bank or the IMF or even the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. It shouldn't be the real problem. And I think what for me is a major issue is to see how do we drive our people to work and produce more. The more we produce, the better we become. That for me is what is the most important. So there's no value so much as added, whether your GDP is growing at 4 point or growing at 9%, if that is not reflecting in the productivity of the people who are the grassroots that are contributing to this. So for me, people should look beyond the numbers and get their hand dirty and then see how we can be as productive as we can. And I think that's where our life survivor actually lies.
Okay, so I am looking at the projections. It looks like the standard that has been set for Africa is 4.0. Currently, Ghana is doing 4.5. Cote d'Ivoire is doing 5.5. 1.5%, far above the expectation. So if at the moment, Olayemi Cardoso was speaking at one point in time, he said some of the marginal increase or growth that we've experienced recently is as a result of the economic reforms and policies that the current administration is churning out compared to, I mean, also in support, or complemented rather, by what the CBN is also doing in its own capacity to, actually contribute its quota to driving the Nigerian economy. That's even one of the reasons why they kept maintaining the status quo for the past 3 times during the NPC. I still see us as performing below, because when you look at Ghana, you look at Cote d'Ivoire, and you're asking, we need to do more. Chooks.
Definitely, just like Doc said, these are projections. Whose projection in the first place? IMF. Like Swift to say, anti-IMF. So let's say Uncle IMF. For we are particular about us getting productive. Okay, let's bring it home. The last 3 months, monetary policy rate has been steady. Also, we've also seen significant improve in oil production. For the first time in June, we met our OPEC quota and went above to also be able to supply, even if not enough, local refining. Now we're trying to see if we can outdo that, which is our own priority. We also have seen the stock market, NGX, do exceedingly well. Now, I won't put my mind on the negative. I won't put my mind on things happening or going wrong. I always look forward to opening my eyes every day and having a very beautiful sunny day. So I want them to double down on where we are right now. IMF projection or no IMF projection. Let's start seeing this particular gains trickle down to the local fabricator, the farmer, the guy buying and selling. Let's start seeing our markets be more robust, where we can now start exporting more, not just as big companies, but as small companies and individuals being able to produce to bring to the market. That aggregation will account more for productive earnings and also push us better. But comparing we and Ghana and these other countries, no. Some states in Nigeria are bigger than those entire countries.
Yeah, but it's even to understand that the way our country is structured, it's even difficult to actually know the exact growth rate in Nigeria, because there's a whole lot that is not captured. There's a whole lot that is not known. And this is different from most other economies that you're actually looking at, where people have been able to digitize to the extent that nobody can hide. Here, there's still plenty of hiding for the purpose of taxation, for the purpose of government levies and the rest of it, a lot of people are hiding stuff that government can't even see. And that's why I'm so very much happy to see that the new tax law really come into effect by the end of this year, when in January it will take effect. Then we'll begin to see what is the real GDP of Nigeria. That's when we will know. Because if you don't capture everybody and you are able to understand the way transactions are, people just do business in hundreds of millions, and of course banks are not declaring. But as it is now, the government's policy says for every commercial bank, private transaction that exceed 25 million with the new quota now had to be reported to Nigerian Revenue Service. And then corporate that is exceeding 100 million had to be reported to the Nigerian Revenue Service. Now, when this start to happen and people start to comply, that's when people actually will know what is the size of our economy. So I'm really not driven by comparison, whether it's Ghana or even Ghanaians. They know that we are better than them, even in terms of growth. So whatever that is in the book is not what matters. The fact of the matter is that there's no country in Africa that's as wealthy as Nigeria, not even South Africa.
Okay, well, it's well stated there. But however, Olumide, what's your perspective in all this?
Well, it's a good one. Just like you said, we are growing, even though it's not really captured. And I think Chooks mentioned some of the drivers of this growth. One of which is the Dangote refinery coming into. What Dangote is doing is, I think, is pretty amazing. It's buying trucks to make sure that fuel reaches every nooks and crannies of the country. We have increased oil production. We met our quota. We can actually do more than that, shoot above our quota. We've also seen a robust service sector. We've also seen FX stability and maintained MPC rate. Investor confidence growing. However, inflation is still there, but I think it dropped down from about 23% in April to 30. It dropped down from 31% in 2024 to 23.7% in April 2025, which is still actually good. And then again, you compared Ghana to us. We cannot compare Nigeria to Ghana in terms of size and population. So the fact that probably they are doing better, or their growth seems to be better than us, they don't have what we have. They don't have the size and population. They don't manage what we are managing. So we can't really compare these two. It's like comparing an elephant to probably an ant, the way I see it. And then again, Doc also talked about data. I mean, how can we actually know? How can we even capture businesses? See, maybe via CAC we can capture registered businesses, but how many of them are paying tax? Maybe we could capture the banked via BVM and predict the unbanked. So we actually need that data, accurate data, to be able to really forecast whether we're actually growing or not. But all in all, I think we're doing good.
Okay, fine. All in all, we are doing good. But some of the sectors that were mentioned in this, gentlemen, fintech, we seem to be doing well in fintech. We seem to be doing well in agriculture. And I have some question when it comes to agriculture and why it is numbered. Of course, oil was also counted among the areas and industry we seem to be doing well. And you also mentioned the services sector. But one part, Doctor, that we don't seem to bring into the capture is the informal economy, which actually employs more population, more than the government and even the corporate sector. How can we capture this to really, give out the data to reflect the performance of the Nigerian economy?
I think that's the point I'm making. Until you really are able to identify people who live in your environment, all your citizens, you know where they are and what they do, you cannot, with words of certainty, say, this is how we're doing. There's a whole lot of banging of data in Nigeria, but being a practitioner, as a research person, and I know that when I see figures in Nigeria, I'm always very suspect because of the things that I see on the feed. So what is important for me is until we are able to fully account for every single individual in Nigeria. You know, it was on this table about 2 days ago, we're talking about 40 million SMEs in Nigeria, and I was asking, so where are they saying that there is unemployment in Nigeria? If you have 40 million SME registered doing business, just imagine that. And you just take the figure, extrapolate it, put it by a minimum of 2 or 3 employees. You see what that amounts to. So it gives you an understanding that we may not be telling the entire story as it is. So the informal sector is just there. There's one woman there who is doing akara for me every morning here and say, taking money away, but nobody sees her contribution to the GDP. She does it from 7 to 9 a.m. and she's done, and she has gone home. And she has built a house. She's training children in school.
With that,
selling.
Yeah, with akara and fried yam along the road. Nobody captures it as contributing to your GDP. So there's one woman who is selling mama put at the back of the yard there. People are lining up to buy food.
Bankers.
And she's making so much money and taking away. Nobody's accounting for it. She's unemployed. So these are the things that we have to first deal with. And I insist, and I'm appealing to Mr. President, if he doesn't do any other thing, if he can get Nigerians truly identified, that would be the biggest achievement any president in Nigeria will do. So once we have the data of everybody, a whole lot of things can fall in their places.
Okay. Chuks, why do we talk so much about data? Because we want to have a perfect knowledge. The government is actually the one saddled with the responsibility of actually providing this data, either through registration of businesses or through taking into account the death and birth rate of citizens, or going to companies to, by way of taxation, they are paying their monthly taxation from their salaries they earn at their place of work, and through either the FIRS or the state revenue collection agencies. Why is it that we don't give priority to it and its effect on our growth?
Now, why we don't, it's very ambiguous.
Okay.
Quite ambiguous. Now, you first ask why we need it. Planning. With accurate data, we'll have the list of problems in Nigeria. But now, why have we not been able to get it done? It's majorly politics. The question you ask is the data, what is it for me? What is in there for me? For those that are saddled with that particular exercise. Several times we've had different kinds of plans or different kinds of missions to get the data, be it through the population census, be it through the national ID card, be it through even the SIM card that we tried pushing out and getting registered, be it through the banks. But now if you look at all these ones, apart from those that were going to the bank to get that done through BVN, how many people, those that are unbanked, are way more than those that are banked. For those that did national ID card, it was for a different purpose. We're not taking a national ID card to show that we're citizens. We're taking national ID card to count as political aged people to vote. Same thing with the voters card. So we need to be able to tell ourselves some basic truth that we need this data for planning. Typical example, we are busy shouting subsidy, subsidy. Subsidy should not be for everybody. If you want to subsidize power, subsidize for those that can't pay for it, not for those that can pay for it.
Like us.
Thank God bless you. Now,
we can pay for it.
If the government decides to subsidize some education, which they are doing and always been doing, subsidize for those that can't pay for it. Let there be schools that, yes, everybody can come to, but those that can't pay can also come via government subsidy. But if you have the correct data, you will know where your subsidy is going. And government will not be wasting money and people collecting government money in the name of subsidy for things that they are not delivering or offering.
Okay. So you talked about data and planning, and I like that because it's actually something very, very critical to what the details and the information IMF is giving out there. In 1960, we were told that Nigeria at that time and some European countries were population-wise was the same thing.
We're close, yeah.
Yes,
Great Britain was about 55 million people. Nigeria was 46 million.
46 million. It's not only Great Britain. France is equally in the list where the gap and the margin when it comes to population is not quite that wide. But today, Great Britain, the France, as we're talking about, some of them are generating more than 100,000 or 80,000 megawatts of electricity, and their public facilities are increased because they have the data of the population they have, and they equally through that data they make decisions to upgrade the public facilities. And when Nigerians and other Africans go there for education and tend to stay by to enjoy the greener pasture, they start complaining at some point in time that, look, immigrants are taking over this, we need to build this, we need to build that. So you know what, we need to increase the fee for visa and all of that. Chooks, I know you are very, very much aware of that. So, but we have grown astronomically from that point in time, 40 million, he said, to now, like 3 times the size of Great Britain. But when it comes to public infrastructure.
Yeah, that is what it is. You see, because this also reflects on the size of your GDP. And accounting for whether it's going up or going down. And this is why sometimes I smile at the ignorance of a lot of people, especially in the media space, when people sit down around television and making comparison without even understanding the fundamentals on how some certain things work. Take, for example, GDP is what a nation is producing over your population. So if you look at what we're producing in 1960 over our population size, which is 46 million.
We're doing well.
Yeah, it seems we are doing very well.
Doing very well.
But when you not compare with what you're producing now, over the population of over 200 million people,
it's a negative sign.
Minute. So you are thinking that, in the 1960s we're better than where we are today. Because you're using the very wrong indices to do your analysis. So this is a problem. You see, you are talking about Great Britain, they maintain their population. Today, Great Britain population is about 65 or 66 million people. For over a period of 60 years, they have not grown 10 million people. So they can sustain the kind of life they are living. But we are breeding human beings because we are really very fertile.
We are what?
Okay, doctor, let's hold it there. Chooks, please, your take on this. Most especially with the population and the GDP doctor just threw at us now.
Our population is a blessing. Is a very.
Because we are heading somewhere. There's a story about China. We are heading there.
Yes, it's a very big blessing. Is we harnessing it to the positive. That is where the issue is. If we can get 75% of the able-bodied, workable hands to work, we'll have less issues. But now, over time, we've been sold a wrong narrative that we should look at the center. And we have forgotten that our fathers never even asked for who was the local government chairman. Our fathers asked for who was the king. They farmed yam and gave a portion to the king. So we've left that kind of culture and we've now started a dependent culture, waiting for the king to supply us whatever for us to share. We need to go back to where and who we really are. We produce and bring to the marketplace and sell. What is left, we help the next person. We are in your nuclear family or your extended family. We read that in textbooks. We are an extended family of people. And
yeah, but it is that extension, Chooks, that you need to actually put your finger on. Why we are an extended family and we have so much large size of people, if we were like Canada, there'd be no need to worry. If we were like America, we don't need to worry because they have a large land size that the more they produce, if American population become 1 billion today, they will have a land to sit on. Canada with over 15 million hectares of land has just a population of 40 million people on that massive size. And that's why you see that their immigration law is open. People can come in because there's so much land to do farm. Chinese, Indians are all in Canada farming. But here, 923,000 square size of land. Now, erosion has taken part of it. The water body has taken part of it. The sand has taken part of it. And so we can't even say we have up to 900 square meter, 900,000 square meter of land anymore. And now we are having a population of 200 million people who are living on this land. And I think this is where, for example, we who are the elite miss a lot. That we still think that the comparative advantage of our country, Nigeria, is in agriculture, while we don't have land to farm. So what must we be thinking about? We must be moving in the way the world is moving. The reason why you can't see people bringing yam to the kings again is because they don't have land to farm. Now, those days there was land to farm, so they have surplus of produce that they can take to the king. Now they are hungry. And they are saying to the king, please, we used to feed you, but you can't feed us.
They have refused to farm.
No. It's not just refusing to farm. It's, I'm telling you, and this can be analyzed with data. You go to, for example, South-South, go to Southeast. Where is the land to farm? Are you thinking that the people in the north that has the land, maybe people in Kebbi or in Niger, they are going to yield their land to you to farm? They also have population who is going to sit on those land. So when you come to our side, I'm telling you what I know from my own Edo state where I come from. We are landlocked.
Okay.
Landlocked people. So agriculture is no longer a comparative advantage
for Edo state.
Yes, of course. So where do we need to focus? We have to focus on technology, where people can actually sit down in their homes here, whether it's in my village in Ebele, and they are able to connect to America, and they are working in America and earning in dollar in this place. That's where the world should be going, because we don't have the land for this kind of growth we talk about.
Great.
But we still have the number of people to get into any end of
the number is fine. The number is fine, but you see, how are we going to channel the energy of that number is what is important. And this is where all of us as a league must begin to think about. I say, look, we are no longer having a comparative advantage in terms of farming because we don't have more land. All the crises that we are talking about, whether it's in Kano, whether it's in Kaduna, whether it's in Benue, whether it's in Taraba, in Plateau, all of them are land-related crises. They are land-related crises because there's no land.
Okay.
So people must understand this reality and say, we have the numbers right. Now, how are we going to rechannel this energy so that we can take them from vices and make them into virtues? This is where our educational system needs to reset. So that we're going to be focusing and say, people don't understand that we are in the world of technology and we are no longer in the world of farming, because that subsistence farming can't help us anymore. Even when you are talking about mechanized farming, we also have to think about the land. So where we need to major right now is this young population channel their energy to develop models, technologies that can drive the entire process so that we are no longer going to be dependent on the land that is not there.
Now, Seni, I know you can hear that. You were in the news today and we're talking about products to be sold. Olumide, if we look at doctor, he said we don't have land. Chooks, I don't know what side he's on, whether we have land or we don't have land. But when you look at
maybe we'll go to his village
from the report that IMF is giving, the drivers and what was responsible for this growth, even though marginal, was that agriculture is there, oil is there, fintech that Doc is talking about is also there. If you go to some countries who don't have the land, they are planting on water. They in fact, technology made them to plant food, agro farm on water.
You can plant on air.
They can plant. So now the thing is, don't you think we should be that's maybe we should be aiming at that, because when you come to Lagos, what we have here is that they build on water. Your perspective?
Well, I want to agree with what Chooks is also saying, that we need to get people to work. Now, I remember there was a certain time a particular governor married off some people who did not have money to get married, and he married them off. Now, if you marry someone who doesn't have money to just conduct the basic wedding, how do you expect him to feed his family? You are not encouraging that.
Two are better than one.
Two are better. That is how the Doc's words breed human beings. So I feel that we need to, instead of encourage people who do not even have money to feed themselves to get married, we need to get into that culture, imbibe in that culture of agriculture, promoting agriculture. Yes, we do not have land, but we can also think of other innovative ways. We had someone who came here and he told us right here in one of our programs, Just Africa, that he can actually plant in your house. You don't need a vast land to start planting. You can do that in your house, and he explained some.
Yeah, but that is subsistence. It's just what you are going to grow to eat. That may not even take you for 1 month. So you look at it.
But don't you think this agriculture that we are talking in the scale that we have today actually was birthed by subsistence farming?
I agree with you. But for it to add to your GDP, it's actually commercial in nature. Yes, I agree with you that technology has done a whole lot. I know in Sharjah there's what they call a vertical farm, hydroponic, where of course they build a whole massive building, and it's producing 16 kinds of fruits. You get your, if you see the kind of what they call it now, carrot that comes out and it's bigger than my hand like this, and they are produced soillessly inside the building. That's possible. I agree. Technology has gone to that level. And so what I'm saying is that if we're still thinking that we're going to leverage on this our subsistence agricultural farming, you are planting vegetable around your house, that can add to your GDP. That's only what you are going to eat. We're also looking at the size of your house. Even if your house is situated in an acre of land, you can also determine what can be produced from it. So this for me is where I am actually saying that even if you are going to say we are going to be majoring on agriculture, it's not agriculture the way we used to do it. It's got to be to agriculture that is technologically driven. And of course we're looking for ways to increase yield, like they're doing in Israel at the moment. They call it precision agriculture. So all this technology, we must, as Nigerians, Africans, begin to embrace this training. And that's the only way we can fly. Okay. That's the point I'm making.
All right. So he also talked about how one person can sit in his house and get a job abroad. Digital literacy is still there. It's still something we're trying to solve. I mean, look at what happened with JAM, and some people were saying, oh, they were not, they are new to computers. So even if we're going to move to that level of technology, there is still that deficit in skills, digital skills. We still have to cover that digital literacy. So the education sector also has to even step up, step beyond what we are right now. So if we are going to look at remote jobs and all that, people need to even get educated on what cybersecurity is. How many people, yes, we talk about cybersecurity, but how many people actually know what cybersecurity is? How many schools, public schools, not even private, how many public schools are taught cybersecurity? So that's another thing we need to also look at.
Okay, now it's time for us to go to the next story. Governance. Reps summon Oyetola and NIWA boss over multi-billion-naira Baro Inland Seaport, the scandal. So the House of Representatives ad hoc committee on the rehabilitation and operationalization of the Baro Inland Port has summoned Marine and Blue Economy Minister Gboyega Oyetola and NIWA Managing Director Bola Oyebamiji over alleged anomalies in the abandoned multi-billion-naira port project. The committee chair, Saidu Abdullahi, demanded full disclosure of contract papers, payment and history, inspection reports, and evidence of operational readiness within 7 days. Lawmakers expressed outrage that the port, commissioned in 2019 to decongest seaports and boost inland waterway transport, remains idle despite heavy public spending. NIWA officials blamed the inactivity on poor road access, silted waterways, vandalized rail links, and security challenges. Even though the project was declared completed, Abdullahi warned that somebody must take responsibility for what is clearly a scandal, stressing that the billions spent without result was unacceptable. Chooks.
Still talking about NNPC scandal.
Billions spent was unacceptable.
The project's completed.
So he said. That was 2019, commissioned by Buhari. And what was spent was, I think, 5.8 billion construction of Baro Port. Baro is in Niger State. Agai local government, to be precise. And it's a very nice area. If you get to see, it's River Niger. And it's very close to, very close to Lokoja. There are a lot of things we'll get to talk about in that particular issue. What we're looking at, inland movement, Niger State, Kogi is just in front of them, Kaduna is behind. River Niger, River Benue, River Kaduna, so it connects every other person. We've had issues of dredging. We say dredge from Onitsha all the way to Lokoja. It's just one single stretch. To Baro is just a dive to the right. And that can bring you all the way towards Ilorin. Takes you to Kaduna, takes you to Sokoto. These are projects that the country had envisaged. And they put all these things on ground. And monies were released. Over time, we keep saying monies for this dredging, money for that dredging. And a port was built. So the question will now start asking ourselves, not one single container ship or small bat has battered in this port. Yet this amount was spent. What exactly were the thoughts of those that envisaged this? What was it called? CGCC, the Chinese company, did this particular construction. And equipment are on ground. The reps are in order to ask these particular questions. If we say right now that we need Niger State to be the major food production for the country, they will need this port. There is no way right now our rail system is not working. We can't move rice by road. We can't move what's it called? Harvested rice by road down this way. No, that can't work. We need something that really can carry tons of produce. This port needs to start working. And with what is happening right now, thank God the reps are waking up. Dangote is building. We have $1 trillion economy to build. Every single infrastructure that government has down should be questioned and made to work.
Okay, so one thing, some of the few things that caught my attention in this report was that rail lines linked to that area are in a no-go condition. So because I'm beginning to see, you mentioned all the linkages and how it can get to from one state to, you said Lokoja, you mentioned Kogi and its environs, and by virtue of this movement, the kind of business activities that was sprung up from this. So I'm looking at the income, not only the income is going to make for the government, but also the jobs is going to indirectly provide for the people across this area. Doc, your take?
Well, it's pathetic, and this is the story of Nigeria, as it were. The railway is vandalized. Let's use the right word. That Nigerians had removed the iron bars from those rails, and so rail cannot pass through it. You see, it's one thing for government to provide infrastructure, and the onus is on the people to maintain and protect those critical infrastructure. Because what we seem to be doing in this nation, whether it's those who are the rulers or those who are being ruled, all of us tend to want to eat our cake and also want to have it. That's the biggest tragedy in our nation. I remember it was one when a minister died, and he had an accident somewhere going to Abuja, and they couldn't have facility here to fly him, and they were trying to rent an ambulance to take him to abroad or India to go and fix it. But before they could fix it, the man died. And somebody did an article that time, and he said that cost of air ambulance that they want to use to fly him was enough to actually buy the equipment for the hospital. So if we had put that equipment in that hospital, the man would not have died. But he had that money to hire an ambulance. But as government functionary, some of all these things are not working. It's just like he was talking about assets just now. Sometimes I'm imagining that things people think about while we are engaging with our nation. And we say, oh, government, government, government. But this is the people's side of it. The rail is supposed to be the one carrying the containers to the inland port so that they can move around those neighborhoods, or if they come in here, there's infrastructure to go. So even if the waters are cleared and the ships can come back around Nigeria, now what is the way to do the conveyance of this thing? It's not there because people have vandalized it, and this has been recurring over the years. And I think it's incumbent on us. Yes, people say, oh, it's the duty of government. Yeah, government is amorphous, as it were. It's supposed to be all of us, that this is public good and nobody should remove public property or destroy public, vandalize property. Oh, people say, oh, people are poor. It's not only Nigeria, people are poor. People are poor everywhere in the world. But it doesn't happen. This is just criminality in our minds that needs to be taken away.
In the minds of those doing it.
Yeah, but that is what it is. They are Nigerians, and I'm not sure that it's Indian that's coming here to do that. So the criminality is in Nigerians. They're the one vandalizing it. And it's not just everywhere you go to. Look at basic infrastructure. See, they barricade the road, somebody come in the night and come to vandalize it. These are our brothers. These are our sisters. So this is the problem here. And I think the rep also must be looking at it. Yes, federal government have put something in there. And what's the role of the people to even protect some of all this infrastructure? That's the only way it can become operational. So we also are the enemy of ourselves. And I think that thesis of Professor Peter Eke, God bless his soul, that we have refused to transfer the loyalty that we have for our primordial and ethnic lineages to the city or central government is the biggest problem that we have. That somebody can wake up in the morning and is thinking that he wants to feed himself, and the only way he thinks he can do, he can't go and plant corn, he cannot plant cocoyam, he cannot plant cucumber that can grow even on top of a town in Nigeria here. And the only way that he can survive poverty is to go remove public facility. It's quite very, very annoying.
Great. Now, Doctor is paying emphasis on people vandalizing public property. But can we also look at it from this aspect? White Elephant project. That's a good project. But the thing is, well, it's abandoned.
Sorry.
And even the rail lines.
Sorry, that's not a White Elephant project.
Okay.
It's not like if you follow history, if you go history, Baro used to be a very big trading port for Nigeria.
Why was it abandoned?
If you go through colonial history, that particular port was sought for, not just by the Baro people, but by the North and Niger State itself. But now we start asking ourselves, what exactly happened when you got the port? Why is it not in use? What happened to the markets that used to pass through that particular place? Traveling to the east or to the west before used to be shorter through that particular place. So what people do that they drive to Baro and cross the water, and in less than 2-3 hours you are in the east. Unlike coming all the way through Mina, going through Abuja, Lokoja, Okene, hitting Onisha. So that used to be like a shortcut. But now, what exactly is wrong? These are questions we expect the House of Rep to ask them. What happened to the market that used to thrive? What happened to the produce and product that are supposed to be passing that place? So even if nothing is coming in, what is going out? Why is it not working? Why is government still paying salaries to people that are supposed to be managing a port that is not working? Considering the amount of money that was put in there and the equipment, we are not really sure if they are still there.
Okay, so in the report, the National Inland Waterways Authority was also fingered by the reps that they will need to come explain to the House of Reps committee, and because they are citing institutional weakness, institutional inefficiency in all of this. So Olumide, what's your take on it?
Well, I think my take right now is the way forward. What really happened? After commissioning, was there any post-monitoring to see whether it went from commissioning to actually, because this could have been, I'm not exaggerating, maybe $1 billion return investment. Because I'm looking at the business activity, I'm looking at revenue generation going astronomical, I'm looking at so many things that could have happened there but never saw the light of day. And I'm wondering how many people knew about this and kept quiet. The Niger State government, the inland waterways, why didn't they make noise? Why is it now that we are hearing this? Why is it that it always has to get to the House of the Rep before we know that, oh, something was commissioned in 2019? 2019 till now, how many years?
6 years.
5 going to 6 years.
5 going to 6 years. But then again, I hope it will not be swept under the carpet. I mean, we're still dealing with NNPC. Where Doc said it was an oversight in figures and all that. So that's not what we're talking about. We must get to the root of this. It's a good thing that, yes, it has been discovered, but we must get to the root.
Stop accusing me. I didn't say so. Even the committee itself investigating NNPC said so.
Okay, the committee.
Yes, that they didn't say that the money was too used. That they only said that the account didn't balance, that they should come and balance the account. And there are two different things. So they didn't say the money vanished. They said they should come to balance the account. And I was only telling you that by my experience and the relationship I had with the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation, and I have come to realize that most of the problem in NDS is the fact that there's poor posting behavior amongst the accountant. That things that are supposed to be registered, they don't register it well, and at the end of the day, the books don't balance. So it looks as if it is fraudulent. It's not to say that people are not stealing money, but to say that that quantum of money, 210 trillion, vanish in the economy in 10 years and nobody sees it, is not something that even the president should be worried about it. So that's the point I was trying to make.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that the money,
I understand. So, gentlemen, this Baro issue, I need to say something.
Okay.
All attention when it comes to seaports coming toward Lagos, southwestern part of the country. And it's like this Baro port was also established. One of the reasons behind it was to actually relieve the kind of, will I call it trouble, though it's a good trouble, but it's trouble. The infrastructure in Lagos, the seaport infrastructure in Lagos, kept going through this difficulty where all attention, everybody importing or exporting need to come down here. That of the south is another thing we need to start considering. So let's begin to imagine if we can spread our tentacles to make effective and efficient use of all the seaports, not only in Lagos, but also in other regions, also in other states. Is it going to be an advantage to Lagos or a disadvantage, or is it what are the benefits and the disadvantages?
There is no disadvantage to Lagos port.
Politicking.
None. There's no disadvantage in Lagos port. Now, this is where the issue is. If you raise your hand, you'll be counted. Is it not? Those in Lagos have decided that we want our state to grow.
So they raised their hand.
So they didn't just raise their hand, they raised both hands and started climbing. It's left for people in other regions to do the same. This is not, yes, there definitely will be a lot of politics and a lot of pushing, but you're not going to wait for somebody to push you. Coming to Baro has 5,020 feet equivalent units, space and capacity.
So
yes, that's to tell you the amount of wastage that is happening there. And they have a mobile floating crane that was installed right from the beginning. Now, if we look at this, is supposed to be the biggest inland port in Nigeria. It is not just supposed. It is that was paid for, constructed, and supposed to be working. As we speak, not one
vessel.
Not one.
Has gone there.
Not
because
one.
Again, they said, maybe probably that's why the Inland Waterways is being invited, because they said the water itself is silted also.
Yes.
So
after how many years? They didn't do it, because if you remember
dredging.
If you remember, we've been having monies budgeted for desilting and dredging from Lokoja all the way, every single year before this time. And also remember, part of this particular project, I don't know why the Niger State government was not invited, because there was also supposed to be a port city that was coming with this from the Niger State government side of it.
Okay.
So we really need to sit and watch this drama unfold.
Thank you. We really need to sit down and
but I
watch this
think
drama
beyond
unfold.
this summoning, as a nation, we need to be a lot more matured. You see, I can't have Chuk sitting there in front of me and I'm sending him SMS message.
Okay. Engage him.
Yeah. So it's easier for me to just talk with him and say, okay, this is what we're doing. The National Assembly, they have the oversight, really, of money that is expended in Nigeria, because they are the one approving the budget. They must themselves be involved in procurement to see what job is done and what job is not done. And I feel that this bringing camera to committee sittings to prove that we are working is really far beyond what it should be. And I think their job is also to do oversight, to be sure that the money that was budgeted is allocated and that money is being used for what is supposed to be used for. Why do we have to wait from 2019 to today before we're asking questions, really? So what happened last year? Somebody said, I'm going to dredge water. Now, and have we been to that place to see whether the water was dredged or not dredged? I think that should be part of the committee, really, than the drama that we see on the public space. And I think the dramas are too many. That the things that we can talk over with people, and we have access to the people that are involved, and we should be able to call them attention to it and say, okay, Minister, we gave you money for this job. Has it been done?
Okay. But
and if it's not done, what should they do?
It was commissioned.
No. I'm talking even about the dredging of the waterways, because that's the major problem, because vessels can't get to that place even because of the silted water. So you have to remove the silt for vessels to be able to access the place for anchoring. So these are the issue that's also affecting, apart from the fact that the rails are vandalized, we're also having the issues that the vessels can't come from the water to enter into the place to come offload goods. These are a lot of problems. Apart from the fact, of course, the issue of insecurity is also very, very important. I cannot forget, I keep saying this here. I was importing something from China once, and I was asking the guy who was helping me to ship, and I said, please, I want it in Warri because it's closer to the factory for me, rather than drop it in Lagos. And he said, look, our vessel can't get to that side of the water. We can only stop in Lagos.
Okay, so whilst Baro Port needs dredging and silting or desilting, that in the South needs to attend to security and insecurity matters. So we can, decongest Lagos State and have some of the...
And transfer some wet.
Yes, please.
The South and the North Central.
Please, we need that. Dangote has gone to Olumide State and they are looking at building another port. Mr. Boro, now that you are in APC, you can use your position and lobby very well. Niger Deltas and indeed the people of Delta State will be very happy for it if the Warri port start functioning effectively and efficiently. We're going to break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizenship. promises. See something. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing, and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
On the 19th of August 2025, Paris will come alive with the prestigious People's Choice Governors Awards taking place at the Gauche Hotel, Paris. The prestigious People's Choice Governors Awards is designed to celebrate governors who have contributed immensely to their states in different countries across the world. If you are a governor who's gone above and beyond to deliver transformative projects in your state and country, then this award is for you. To partake of the Governor's Excellence Awards this year taking place in Paris, all you have to do is send an email to soupnexus.com with the words, "I accept," and we will get right back to you. You can also send a WhatsApp message to the WhatsApp number scrolling on your screen right now. You don't want to miss Paris for anything, and we are looking forward to celebrating you and your achievements this year. So contact Soup Nexus to make that happen.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Literally said is going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen promises. See something. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. Innovation. The federal government pushes EV, that is electric vehicle drive, as UNIBEN wins electric campus shuttle design contest. The federal government says it is advancing its zero emissions transport agenda through the National Automotive Design and Development Council, NADDC, an 8-seater electric campus shuttle competition. The University of Benin emerged winner among 12 universities in the contest's first phase, which focused on the prototype design. The next phase will include or involve manufacturing, with funding for UNIBEN to produce its design. The NADDC Director General, Oluwemimo Osanipi, I hope I got that right, said the initiative supports the government's renewed hope agenda and Nigeria's shift to a green energy automobile industry, mandating at least 60% local content in production. The Minister of State for Industry, John Eno, said the program aligns with the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan, emphasizing innovation, skills development, and clean mobility. UNIBEN won 5 million naira. 5 million naira. While Futo and the University of Abuja received 4 million naira and 3 million naira as first and second runner-up, respectively. 5 million naira for bringing up a very good design. Okay, fine. I know.
The first.
Yeah, it's the first position. Why 5 million naira? That's almost like a pittance. Well, but maybe before we start talking about that and holding the government at the jugular, let's talk about the creativity, the skills development, the innovation that these students in universities have been able to come up with. And besides, before then, probably I've not been to UNIBEN for quite a while. In Unilag, I see these electric vehicles running. On the streets of Lagos, I've seen, the CNG long luxury vehicle, and I've seen some B2 looking like vehicles on the road written zero emission electric vehicle running in the streets of Lagos and even around the office. So, Doctor, UNIBEN, let's start from home.
Oba talk, baby.
Is that right?
Yes.
Please, could you please tell them what that means?
Long may the king live. That is what it is.
Oh, okay. Great.
So we congratulate the student of UNIBEN for that groundbreaking initiative. Again, it points to the fact that there's a whole lot of potentials around us. And what needs really to be done in that regard is to support those initiatives. And I think that beyond government, actually, we should be looking at corporate bodies, what they're doing. And I don't think it's government that is giving money to people who are in a BB Nigeria kind of a program. And they are being funded and they are winning hundreds of millions of naira, supported by captains of industries. And this is the reality where we find ourselves. We need captains of industry, the innocents of this world, who are also pioneering manufacturing and asking government for waivers and support to run their business, for them to even take part of their profits to put in this kind of competitions that encourages innovation and creativity. So beyond who is giving the prize, because maybe that's what ministry is able to afford, they themselves must be interested in what is happening in this sector and put money in there. A prize money that will drive and energize young people to think outside of the box, to be able to create models. I remember when I was in the university, a friend of mine, I really work for CEPLAC now, he was able to design a UPS that holds the entire building. And then we're still having button kind of things, and all the electronics in his house were all soft touch, made by him. I remember those days he represented our university and he won, and then of course we were supposed to go to Austria, and his uncle told him, I said, don't go to Austria, because if you go to Austria, you won't come back to this country. We don't want to lose you. So you see, oh yes.
Why? Let him go.
Yeah, but because he was quite creative. But all of that now has ended looking for money from Shell to Seplat now, and I don't think he's thinking electronics anymore. So this is the tragedy of a nation that is in search of development. And I think that we in the business community, because that's what happened elsewhere, you're having companies having chairs in universities, pioneering research that will help their products and services. And until we get to that level in this country, it will be very difficult for us to actually see that our average tourists are bringing out groundbreaking ideas and innovation. And I think that for me what it is. But kudos to those guys, don't give up. Probably this still need to be patented, and if we don't like it here, can take it somewhere else where people will like it.
You see. Okay, yes, so Olumide want to say something.
I would also like to add to what Dr. said. In as much as winning this contest is good, we also need to be thinking of how can we now make this on a large scale. How can we get big manufacturers to open manufacturing companies, because this would also lead to job creation. How can we replicate this on a mass scale and service the local industry, put it in the market, let local transportation people access this. This is the way we can actually grow it internally in Nigeria before we can now think of probably exporting it and all that. That way we retain our skills, we retain everything in Nigeria rather than them saying we want to sponsor them abroad. And of course, when they get to that country, these guys, they know, they understand its potential. They would give them sweet incentives that will make them
stay back
and not come back to Nigeria. Yes, we cannot blame it on the government. You don't expect the government to do all that. But this is where I believe this kind of contest should have a crop of automobile makers,
investors
come into this kind of contest, see how we can tap into this, so that these students, even before graduating, some of them they've already gotten jobs at a very lucrative company. That is how we can actually encourage this, so that other students will be encouraged to do more, to make more creation. Then we should also, that, like Doctor said, patenting it. Yes, they have to register this kind of invention, because once US and any other country gets a hold of China, gets a hold of this.
Okay, so while we have short time to spend, I have another perspective to bring, but before then, Chooks.
Yes, the good book says both your mind and your treasures are in one place. You can separate them. And we've seen where our priority as a people sometimes can be. Doc have tried laying and comparing one particular TV reality show to what we have on ground. One thing we know for sure, one is just content. It's not growing our economy. A large chunk of that money that is made off that is not even here in Nigeria. It goes back to the argument we were having yesterday, because they have to convert that money to dollar and send back to their own country. But they are making that money off us. But now these are innovations that can really make money, not just for the innovators or for the school, but for the country. So we need to start looking at it with the eye of development. We have a president that is up and doing. We need to see that up and doing in this sector right now.
Great.
Our universities should be a place where you come in right from the gate. You know that you are in a place of learning. You don't need to start seeing like those cars you were talking about. Let's see cars that are built in the school there. They don't even need to have cover as long as they are moving. And you go, this is this department, or this is this one, okay. And you see it driving around the school. You get to see that in China a lot. A lot of prototypes we don't even see here. We see them in China, and they are using it within their small communities. Let's see that happen here. It will drive people's invention, imagination, and we'll get a whole lot of things happening.
Okay, so we're going to do one take before we go to the next story. Chooks, please, can we give $100,000 to the UNIBEN students for doing this? Can we give $70,000 to the second runner-up, or to the second position, and give $50,000 to the school that came third? I know you know what I'm saying. I know you know where I get $100,000 from. Okay, please, can we give $100,000 to the students of UNIBEN for doing this? Can we give $70,000 to the next school that came second? Can we give them $50,000 to the school that came third?
Your Excellency,
Mr. President can do that. Yes.
We don't need $1,000 for the student. We can get times 10 of that to get that project running and the student being part of it. We can get them published, not just that project, but beyond that automobile project. We can get them see this project right from this inception till when the prototype is out and driving on the road. 99% of the EVs that we have right now are imported. 99.9% of the ones that we are trying to produce here are assembled.
We don't even have a Saming plant yet.
I know, we do.
We're working on one, though.
We do. Assembled. Right here now. But if we can have students that can, on their own, even if for the various parts they source, and yes, let's encourage that, because it's going to come out cheaper. It doesn't need to be that classy. It moves. It's safe. We don't need to take it to travel from Benin to Tokoto. As long as it can serve people within Benin and it's cheap, it works. That is good. Tata started like that.
So,
well, I like I said, just like every normal human being, government sometimes can be limited and constrained, and there's no doubt about that. So I don't like when we compare apple with orange. This is a local competition that was done among 12 universities in Nigeria, and you can put them in the same class as a competition that is done continent-wide. They are two different things. And I have been hearing and seeing some of all those narratives on the social media and various media houses, people saying, oh, teachers are not paid well, and why are they giving some people $100,000? The armies that are fighting, they are not doing well. I think that's the kind of argument that you are trying to bring on this table, and I think it doesn't really make the difference. What for me is, and that is what I say, everywhere in the world, even in MIT, the almighty MIT, the greatest innovation hub in the world, is not funded by governments. It's funded by private individuals who put money down on research. You see, we must have to decolonize our mind to do things the way other people are doing it, and they are making success. People put resource down, their hard-earned money. A certain lady was retiring, and in honor of her husband, and he said, oh, I'm leaving this $1 billion in this school, that every medical student that passes through here should not pay tuition. That's the kind of a world we should be thinking of living. Because we know government is limited. They can't do so much. So we must also be talking to our brothers and our sisters whom God has blessed to come to the aid of our institutions. And you go to universities everywhere. They are private, corporation-led and driven. So the last time I was speaking with my friend, one of the things he said, look, and I think that we should stop even employing professors as VCs of schools, so that we can employ people with sound MBA, so that they can market our universities, not just having to rely on government funding every time. That's my perspective. Okay. But I think that they can earn more if those who have gone through that system, they have become good engineers now as their alma mater. They also would need to come around. You see the whole lot of camaraderie that is following around these girls. Even the Super Eagles, people have to put money together to encourage the girls because they have done well. So these are the kind of things we must be looking at in our country. Where are the mechanical engineers who are in top and big places? They should put money in that system, so that this encourage young people who are growing up from the system to say, oh, our seniors, they value what we are doing, and they can put their heart and their mind down when they are beautifully rewarded. I don't think if government start to reward everybody who makes anything significant, I'm not sure that they'll be able to pay salary again for the civil servants.
Okay. Maybe the government should not reward everybody, but for people like these students, I think the government should have them at heart. Though I know this NADDC is also government agency driven, but the government can do more. Now, let's briefly look at this story. Personal finance, budgeting hacks Nigerians can use to cope with rising costs, with the cost of food, transport, and essential services increasing, Households are adopting smarter ways to manage their income and save more each month. Experts highlight practical steps such as tracking every expense, setting clear saving goals, and breaking monthly budgets into weekly spending plans. Other tips include using mobile banking tools, cash envelope systems, cutting non-essential expenses, meal planning, and bargaining to get the best prices. Financial advisors said that consistent saving and smart spending habits can help households cope with inflation and prepare for emergencies or investments. Yes, savings. There's this conversation people have spoken about. So I'm going to start with you. Savings. You know, when financial literacy is being taught, savings is also part of it. And when people are talking about savings, I've been in several of these classes, and most of the feedback you get is, how can you save when your income is no, or your take home cannot take you home? Chooks.
I wish this question did not come to me. But it's all good. This is where a lot of planning, a lot of discipline, and a lot of self-sacrifice will have to come.
Money.
Yeah, we have to come to play. For right now, we are in an economy that is passing through phases. So, what you don't need, leave it out. Those are the easiest way to say. What you don't need, leave it out. And for shocks that might come that are not planned, this is where you need a community. If you've been a loner, stop being a loner. If it has to do with food, there are communities for buying. There are bigger markets. You can leave the smaller one that is close to you and go to the bigger places where you get it cheap. When it comes to your salary, this is where we really need to now start talking to ourselves. Except if you work in places that pay you based on a different level, most Nigerians, be it the civil servant, your salaries will not be enough. So you have to look for how to augment, how to legally augment, and not wait for payday. Do your job well, learn how to augment. Put yourself in demand. Let some other kind of endeavors need your service and be able to pay for it.
Okay, Olumide.
Yes, save before you spend. It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting because I practice it a lot, even though it's not easy. So what I normally do is immediately I get from my salary, I take out what I'm going to save first. Then from then onwards, I start to plan. So most of the time, the larger chunk goes into savings. But over time, I've also realized that it's your savings that save you. I don't know how to explain that more because somehow things just happen. But then again, it's good when these things happen and you can actually go back to a pool and pull something out of it. You know, to be able to, because the least time you expect it, your gas gets exhausted, and sometimes it's kind of funny when you are getting towards payday and bills just start cropping up and you already have what you're going to use that money for. But then again, I've also realized that you cannot survive in Nigeria presently with just one source of income. You must have at least 5. I'm not exaggerating. If you can have up to 5. It doesn't have to be the same level. Maybe your salary is the larger share and you're getting 10%, 20% here and there and all that. But then again, it says here that you should cook more at home. Now, it's quite tricky. Cooking more at home can save you money if you already have the basic ingredients or basic things. Because if you say you want to cook a pot of stew and you do not have rice at home, already at home, cooking at home might cost more than you buying outside. So it all goes back to buying in bulk. Now, if you're going to buy in bulk, it's cheaper that way. But then again, if that if you have someone, maybe the three of us decide to buy in bulk and we share, like meat sharing, that's what people do these days. Three of us can come now
and buy a cow.
No, not a cow, maybe the leg. But if you can buy a
cow,
not a cow,
and share it in
I think Olumide should just be telling Dotun, see, rather than take that girl to one eatery there where we spend 9,000, and two of them will have eaten 18,000.
Yes.
That 18,000 should keep it and save it. You see, because the problem here is lifestyle.
That needs to change.
It's a lifestyle that needs to change. You just want to make somebody feel good and look happy.
But it's good to make the person
No. Yes, of course. Yeah, there are other ways to make people feel good.
Like writing a love letter.
Like I just said, Dotun will take 19,000 to cook a meal, whether it's buying rice or buying oil or buying gas. 18,000 will not finish, and they can eat it for like 5 days. Then just get one girl, I don't even sure whether it's going to marry him or not. So it just you can understand that kind of a conversation. That's where we are as a people. My friend told me the son was graduating from secondary school yesterday. I do on Friday. He bought suit 120,000
for coming
shoe
for
80,000.
That's 200
for the validity service.
To come out from secondary school, going to where? Going to? Didn't you leave secondary school?
No, we did not come out.
Okay, we didn't come out.
So you already spent 200,000 naira. What about the inner shirt?
You are not talking about all those ones, suit and shoe, that is it. And you are not talking about the cooking part.
But they contribute money.
You need to have taken your camera to Case Collect on Friday to see their validatory service. And you'll be thinking, what kind of people are we? I was telling my friend yesterday, you see, we want to be like America, we want to be like UK, we want to be like China. Great! A Chinese will take a cup of tea, and that is enough for breakfast.
They eat in the bedroom before the cup of tea.
Okay, they eat in the bedroom for cup of tea.
They definitely they do.
It's enough for breakfast. A boiled egg and a cup of tea. You go to America, they toast your bread. 4 slices of bread is okay. 1 loaf of bread is good for a family, for a breakfast. And put egg on it, and they have eaten. They are waiting for no. They are putting small rice, 1 small leaf here, and put it here, and they eat. So you can compare that. Even our eating habit is a crime here.
Doctor.
We can eat differently. So I told them it was giving us strength. When we go to boxing, we can't defeat them. When we go to wrestling, we can't defeat them. When we go to play football, we are no stronger than them. Who tells us that is when we eat excessively is what makes us strong? So I think this is one of the issues that people must have to, we must have to address as a people.
And it affects
how did we go to this level that we will eat out our destiny in a meal? It's a problem. So when people are saying, oh, I don't have, there's not so much to save because I'm not anymore, and I think it's really not. It's just the fact that there are some certain things that you need to do. I was talking to somebody, we were trying to recruit. He said, I cannot remember the last time I entered public transportation in my life. I said, what work are you doing?
Yes, you was using the...
Oh yeah, because you have to count your costs. The Bible talks about a story that if a man can't count his costs before he enters into a project, he will get stuck and it become a laughing stock. So we have to count our costs and see, where are we? How can I cut down on my excesses? We're talking about civil servants who are not earning money and they're having their children in private universities.
Universities that pays...
And they are paying through their nose.
$1 million or more.
And then they are demonizing their government and their state. So this is the tragedy of the nation who is in search of development and hope. And I think it's very important. Those things are there that can help us plan our life very well. The apps are there where you can do your investment, where you can do your service, where you can multiply whatever little thing that is coming to you. Because if you don't save, you cannot invest. And if you don't invest, you cannot become wealthy.
Great. Now, please don't forget, yes, Olumide, before I have your final answer, don't forget, this is not the conversation that we are going to exhaust on the table today. Subsequently, during Souk Business Landscape, we are going to be looking at this saving habits and some other financial hacks that can help us, go through life. Yes, Olumide, before we move to our next story.
Of saving is
yes.
What we fail to realize is, even if our income increases, it does not give us any reason to increase our
expense.
lifestyle. Yes. So, I'm earning 100,000 naira. Then I start earning 200 or 300, and I start thinking of going to live in Lekki. Why not still maintain living in Ikorodu and have more money to save? Do you understand? So that's one of the things we need to imbibe, that no matter how much extra money you get, your spending habit remains the same. Constant. That is discipline. That is financial discipline right there.
But the reason is simple, because for many people, their personality is defined by what they have and not who they are. So if you don't drive a big car, you look inferior.
Don't live in a big house.
Yes, if you don't take Uber to leave work, you are looking inferior. So if you are not living in Lekki, where the cost of what they call it now, the one they use in maternity house, there's a language, service charge. It's enough to rent
another house,
3 houses in Ikorodu, and you're living in 2 bedrooms just to make some people feel good about you. Because it is what you have that seems to define us as a people. And I think we must deliberately tell ourselves some honest truths, that we came alone, and the day we are going, we will go alone. Not even our sibling will follow us.
Okay. Now let's move to our last and final story, and that's outside the shores of Nigeria. It's about the economy in China, which introduces the first nationwide child care subsidy to boost birth rates in China. China will begin providing an annual subsidy of 3,600 yuan, an equivalent of $500 per child under the age of 3 from 2025, aiming to reverse its declining birth rates and aging population. The policy, which expands earlier local incentives, will benefit over 20 million families and be exempted from income tax. Despite ending the one-child policy in 2015 and later allowing up to 3 children, the birth rates have continued to fall, with population decline recorded for 3 straight years. Rising childcare costs remains a key factor discouraging couples from having more children, as studies rank China among the most expensive countries to raise a child relative to income. Why? China?
Yeah.
Aging population, they said, and declining population. That means the...
Yes, of course. There are people that are dying now, and they are dying, and people are not giving birth. Young people don't want to give birth.
There are still 1+ billion people.
Yeah, of course. That is the thing. It's what you're seeing is that you're having that people, like in your environment, majority of your population are in age 35 downwards. And in China, you're having more of them on the age upward. And so as people are dying away, and the younger ones are not ready to marry, and they're enjoying life, and the government is finding some constraints, because they're also thinking future. And I think that's what government everywhere in the world do. You see, at a certain point in their life, the problem was that population was exploding, and there was a need to control it. So they put a peg and said, look, if you give more birth to more than one, then of course taxes will come upon you. And so a lot of people were discouraged from having children at that time. But now they are now seeing that they are facing a new challenge and crisis. And what is China doing now? China is also thinking of how to ensure that they don't go into extinction. So they are incentivizing birth, which is a country that is forward thinking and very strategic in that matter. Even in terms of agriculture, now you go to China, there are some places now where you cannot build houses. There are places in China now that only the kind of houses you can build are vertical houses that are going skyscraper. Because they're also thinking that the generation of the people that are coming after them are having opportunity to live, which is, of course, Africa is not having. When we are talking about sustainability here, we are talking about energy saving. We're not even thinking about the generation, because in the equation of sustainability, there are 4 P's. Talking about the planet, talking about profit, and talking about the people. Comprehensively in our own climate, we ignore the people side of sustainability. We're only talking about planet and profit.
Profit, okay.
So the people side is what the Chinese are dealing with right here. And they understand that, of course, if you get to that point like Europe is, you start to open your door and start to give immigrant visas to come into your environment, and then they come to desecrate your culture. And don't forget that culture is one of the strongest tools that is driving Chinese development, and they don't want it corrupted.
Great.
So they must look for an avenue to see how they can show up population who will preserve that culture.
So now, as we run up, Chooks, that means the decline is also telling on their economic powers and the market. Do you think?
Yes. No matter how fast we get technology working for us, you need human beings to operate them at one point or the other. Even if you don't need human beings, you need human beings to be innovative, to create those particular technology. So stemming from their one-child policy years ago, over time, that has also affected their culture. It has gone into the psyche of the next 3 generations down the line that, hey, let's keep it
just one.
Let's keep it just one. Then we now have a younger generation that are not even interested in the thing called marriage before you now start talking of childbirth. So you see, over time, a whole lot of erosion has happened. The Xi Jinping had to address women directly and appealed to them. Please, let's go back to your culture of being the wife. Even if you are working, so every company try and create some incentive that will give her more time to cater for her family. That was part of government policy. Now they are coming up with this, meaning that what they tried before is not working as fast as they intend. They want babies. Doc said we are fertile here in Africa. They want what we have. But on the flip side, they don't want influx of immigrants.
Yes.
So they want Chinese babies. So right now they are putting money down. But the funny side of this is now you have one of the highest rate of billionaires coming from there. Their poverty rate is not like what we have here. So if this money is going to drive them, that is another thing where we have to think about.
Yeah.
I don't think I on my own side,
it's going to work.
I don't think money is going to drive them. There has to be something that has to be very cultural that they can connect with, that will make them make babies.
Cultural. Okay, because I didn't see anything cultural in there. I saw tax exemption there. Olumide, your take?
Well, I like to borrow from Doctor's submission. They are forward-thinking people. When I first heard a long time ago about the one-child policy, I was like, it was quite. I tried to understand, which I later did, because I was comparing Nigeria, the way we give birth in Nigeria, we attribute it to religion, we attribute it that, God gives children, and so
God will take care of the children.
God will take care of children. So, and they tried this, and now there's a declining in that, and they are trying, but experts also say that this 3,601, it's relatively low to the cost of living there. So maybe they might have to opt it, maybe they might have to look for other solutions to that. But then again, let's see what happens.
Okay, but for Nigeria, during President Buhari's administration, he was actually talking to, most especially, he was talking to Nigerians. That, when we read the optics, we saw that probably maybe to the north, trying to talk to women to use
family planning?
Yes, methods.
Birth control.
Birth control methods because of the shrinking of population. But are we looking at that? Because I think if China is going this direction, I think Nigeria and other African countries should have a rethink. Because I think Nigerians should open their doors for their citizens to have to walk around the world. Then we have more people coming there.
Coming here or going there?
No. When I mean coming there, I mean bringing up more people. Here? Birth. Yes, of course.
Have you been to the
because the world is open.
I think, yes, the world is open. Yeah,
the world is open for Nigerians.
No. You see, the world as of today is over 8 billion people living on this planet, and we know the size of the land. It's not increasing. You can't increase it. And the elementary economics teaches that constant factor of production, which is land, is critical to wealth creation. And over years, people have fight and die on land issue. Every battle that is fought on this earth is not fought on anything except land. If you go to Ukraine today, it's a land crisis. If you go to the Middle East today, it's land crisis. If you go to Sudan today, it's land crisis.
Yes, so round up because of
every crisis in the world is centered around land, and therefore the world must be, careful, to observe that balance, that equilibrium, to see that we are not producing more than we need at the moment. Otherwise, there will be an implosion that is going to come. And of course, you will not be able to contain yourself, because most of the things that we talk about, especially when it comes to Africa, we are only looking at symptoms. We don't look at the root cause of the issues. And the day we start to look at the root cause of issues, our thinking and our perspective on issue will change. But I always feel that governments, individuals must see 50 years, 20 years from now, and not think only about what is happening today, and see that we are not trying to solve a problem and creating a bigger and more dangerous one for the generations that are coming.
Yes, you heard the word from the institution, the think tank, and the oracle. And this is a good place for us to draw the curtain on Souk Business Landscape. Many thanks for watching. Please do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Souk News TV. I am Oyemprie Kromale. Good morning to you once again as we leave. Chooks.
Thank you very much for being part of this. For today, we'll do it again tomorrow. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks. Have yourself a nice day.
And Doctor?
I'm honored to be here, and also knowing that you're there listening. See you tomorrow.
All right. Olumide.
It's been a pleasure staying with us on Souk Business Landscape. Please follow us on all our social media platforms at Souk News Television. I am Olumide Chokwaya.
Good morning.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.